so confident they'll make the playoffs that if they don't, I'll wear a Giants or a Dodgers jersey on one of our podcasts.
You don't need the pressure of always trying to perform here at the major league level, so that might be a good thing.
You talked about the athleticism of this Padres team last time out, and he just embodies it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another edition of the BCSC Podcast. Andy Bishop joined by Brian Vilvin and Thomas Conroy. It's a good week to be a Padres fan. Brian, how you doing, sir?
Oh, man, I am good. 3 wins in a row, 2 of them against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium, and the win yesterday being in complete control pretty much the entire game. Man, you love to see it, and it's just so rare, but coming up early and Manny Machado coming through. We talked about he needed to be a big factor. I'm feeling real good in Padre land right now.
Certainly. It was just you and I, Brian, last time. We did a little bit of a preview for this Padres series. We're sitting a little prettier than I think we may have expected. We are now joined by our friend, again, Thomas Conroy. Thomas, what's your insight on this Padres-Dodgers series through 2?
Well, I'm really pleased with the way that the team has come through. I mean, what a contrast from sort of like not knowing where the team was after the last series, and especially the way that Dodger series at Petco ended with that brilliant throw by the left fielder at the end of the game and to get Trent Grisham. But this has been total domination by the Padres. And I have one question for both of you guys is, who is this Drew Pomeranz? Because this cannot be the same guy that was a starting pitcher just, a few short seasons ago. Man, he has a demeanor that I just love. Mean and nasty.
Great to have a guy like that. I think a lot of people thought we overpaid to get him with the contract we gave him based on his struggles as a starting pitcher. But I think when you put him in that reliever role, he really succeeds there. That allows him to focus on certain pitches in certain situations. And it's nice to have that option aside from Kirby Yates, like if what Jace Tingler was saying, if Yates is only feeling 80, 85, 90%, it's amazing to have that option, especially a left-handed pitcher. So definitely love to see that.
Yeah, Pomeranz has been an absolute stud. He has 4 saves already on the young season. He's only given up 1 hit. Last night it only took 1 pitch to get out of the jam, and until all the outs are recorded against the Dodgers, you never can feel too comfortable. So coming in, even just getting that 1 pitch and the 1 out, like just what a revelation to have. And you remember the last time Pomeranz was a stud was when he was a starting pitcher with the Padres. He was one of the all-star representatives when the game was here, and then we traded him right after that to Boston, and he under-delivered there at Boston, and then, trying to be a starting pitcher again last year, didn't perform great. And then in a small sample size with Milwaukee was really good as a reliever. But, this guy, in his entire career with the Padres, he's been nothing but a pleasure. So happy to have him back and have him locked up for a handful of years. It's great.
Guys, I have a question for both of you guys. What about Pierce Johnson? He's been really impressive. And I thought last night, his inning of work was really impressive because it kind of gave him that bridge that they needed to get to the back end of the rotation. And to me, I think it adds another solid piece when you add Pagan trying to figure it out, and then Pomeranz, and obviously to Kirby Yates. He's really stepped up big in the short time that I've seen him.
Yeah, that was – oh, sorry. I'll let you jump in a second, Andy, but I was just going to say, Thomas, when we were talking about trimming the roster from 30 to 28 and then 28 to 26, a couple of the names we were talking about were Pierce Johnson maybe being in like that second round of cuts and Jake Cronenworth like being considered. That was just, a week and a half ago, and how much has changed since then. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, Johnson has been rock solid. I just feel always comfortable when he gets up, like he's going to come in and throw the ball hard and get guys out. So yeah, what a difference a week and a half makes there.
Yeah, he's an added piece that I really like to watch. And it's really just interesting to see the evolution of this Padres bullpen. I think we're still looking for it and trying to find out how it is going to look, consistently, but it's not one of those situations where we kind of have our standard seventh, eighth inning, ninth inning guy. It's going to be a mixture of pitchers, depending on, the given situation. And that gets me back to the first game against the Dodgers, where we had a trio of middle relievers go for the first few innings. And that was Perdomo, Matt Strom, and Cal Quantrill. I want to get your insight, Thomas, on how you think Tingler handled those guys, and if you think it's going to be something like that for the foreseeable future, the rest of the season, when we have to go, with that number 4, number 5 spot where we can't start one of our other 4 pitchers.
Yeah, I think that's really the way Major League Baseball has gone. I mean, it's they call it the opener, and and if the guy doesn't kind of cut it in that first inning, then you really want that second pitcher to be the guy that gets you the innings as far as going once around the order, and that's what it seems like baseball has come to, is if I can just get through the order once as a manager's philosophy, I should say. If I can get my pitcher to get through the order once, and then I'm going to go on to my next pitcher, and so on until I can get into the heart of my bullpen. And yeah, I think it is. I thought Quantrill really pitched well from my perspective, but I don't think he'll get a start, because I think they like that ability to kind of use the back end of their bullpen and to get everybody the innings, quality innings. So yeah, I think the opener for the Padres perspective is here to stay.
Yeah, when we were looking at that on paper, Andy, I was pretty worried about Monday's game, and it almost got away from us in that first inning. Like the fact that they had a run across and 2 runners on with nobody out in the first inning, and they didn't score any more after that. That Tatis throw on the cutoff at home, that was unbelievable and just a huge play. But yeah, I was really concerned. And at that point I was like, okay, well, Perdomo got us through the first inning. That's all we needed there. And then Matt Strom, another guy who has started games, came in and gave you some good production. And then, yeah, like Thomas said, Cal Quantrill coming in. Those are 3 guys. You can go righty, lefty, righty. They all have starting experience, so they're used to pitching early in games. So it's not a different place for them, and they were all really solid. Cal Quantrill needs to work on his covering of first base, but other than that, he was really good, and I was very blown away. I can't believe they gave up only that 1 run, especially just based on how that first inning was playing out. I was worried. That was exactly what I was expecting it to be like, but then I was not expecting a complete shutdown after that, and I was super pleased. That's the game that I feel like we stole from the Dodgers for sure.
Yeah, it was good to get that one in the bag. Halfway through the Padres-Dodgers series, 2 more coming up, as the Padres will feature Zach Davies starting tonight, and then Chris Paddock for the finale on Thursday. Let's talk about a name you mentioned, Brian, and that's Jake Cronenworth, as we continue to see him produce offensively and then show a glove defensively, whether that was him initially starting at first before Hosmer came back and now moving to second base. Guys, do you think this is going to be a consistent starting 4 in the infield that we're going to see going forward? By that, of course, I mean Machado, Tatis, Cronenworth, and Hosmer. What do you think, Thomas?
I do, Andy, because last night the Padres made a trade, and might be a bit of nepotism, but Yonder Alonso is coming back to San Diego after he sits out for 14 days for COVID testing. But to me, when I heard that trade be announced, that does solidify me that Cronenworth now is going to be the second baseman, and a guy that I think we were all kind of had on our minds of what type of player he has become. Has not become a question mark. It's Jerks and Profar. I mean, right now he's one of the players that might be on the bubble when Alonso is eligible to come onto the 28-man roster. So it's just so weird. It's just like, this season's like, stay tuned, because the roster could change next week and we'll be talking about something else. It's so chaotic with the roster situations that I don't think it's one of the things where you can't feel comfortable unless you're a proven, starting 9 player, because you could be off the roster real fast. And Cronenworth, as you mentioned, Andy, batting .371. I mean, he just seems like a rock solid player. Does necessary plays fielding wise, and comes up with really big clutch hits. So yeah, I think right now it's his job to lose at second base.
What's impressed you the most, Brian, from Cronenworth?
Well, just his versatility. And that was kind of the book on him coming in. When he jumped over to first base to play first base, he made a couple of hang a star on him plays, diving catches, double play balls turned from the first base position somewhere he was not comfortable playing. Well, clearly he was comfortable playing there, but that wasn't the position that we had been sold on. But that was shortstop. And then he goes to second base. And he was a huge reason that the Dodgers only scored 1 run in that first game. He made a huge play to end that first inning. And then later on, that glove toss to first base, like that's totally just an improvised play. And a guy who hasn't gotten much work at second base. He had that one error last night that ended up not costing him. But other than that, he's just been so versatile. I love it. I think he's going to stick at second base just because that's the only open spot in the infield right now. I like that Jurickson Profar was able to go out and play left field the last 2 days. Tommy Pham's clearly dealing with something. We're not exactly sure what it is, some type of injury, but if he's going to be in that DH role, you don't lose Profar out of the lineup because he's not playing second base. And, the versatility to go out to left, I think that's what's going to keep him on the roster. But yeah, Jake Cronenworth, the versatility, the fact that he can go in and make huge plays at any position we put him at. And that's just on the defensive side. His offense has been a revelation as well. So 5 stars for that guy.
I completely agree. Just so nice to have his bat in the lineup. You mentioned Profar. He had a home run last night from the left side to add to that run total that was really aided by Manny Machado's grand slam. That is always great to see when a player hits a grand slam off his former team.
Yep.
I like what you said, Brian. I think Profar does have a little bit of versatility. He started in left field. Last night was the first night the Padres had the same lineup back-to-back nights. So some consistency there. We saw Austin Hedges at catcher both nights, and he had a home run that first game. So nice to see Hedgie getting a little success at the plate. I want to hear what your guys' expectations are for these next 2 games. What do you think is realistic for these Padres win total-wise, Thomas, for the next 2?
I think it's hard to sweep the Dodgers at Dodgers Stadium. So I'm thinking 1-1. I think the Dodgers will probably win a tight game tonight, and then Paddock puts them to sleep tomorrow.
Well, I thought the 2 toughest games were going to be the last 2 games. Mm-hmm. Garrett Richards performed really well yesterday. I thought the bullpen game was chalk up a loss for sure. And then the Dodgers have had to rework their starting rotation for the next couple of games, so we're not even going to see Kershaw. But I thought facing Dustin May in the first game, we were in big trouble. And then I thought we were in trouble last night. So I think the way it lines up, there's a chance the Pods could actually – I don't think we'd be crazy to think that they could win the next 2 games and at least get a split on the next 2, which is winning 3 out of 4 in LA and being tied with the Dodgers once you leave. And this is the type of series that in years past you lose 3 out of 4 or you get swept. That's just what has happened to the Padres every time. We have all these high expectations and they come in and lay an egg. So right now we're playing with house money. I would love to go out and win this one tonight and then see what we can do in the finale. But I got the Pods winning 2 more, AB.
Brian.
What do you got?
How sweep it is, he believes. I want that. I think it's very possible, but I'm going to go side with Thomas here and say we take one of the next 2, still ending up winning the series 3 out of 4, and put ourselves with a nice 12-8 record after 20 games, a third of the way through that season. I love our chances with Paddock going, and even with Davies, I mean, the guy is an artist out there on the mound, so he could put up another fine start there. I will say it's really cool to watch the Padres win in a variety of ways, whether that's putting up a ton of runs on the board like they did, last night with that 6-1 win, or really tighten things up with their defense and pitching like they did in the first game of the series. So to have that versatility as a team overall is amazing to watch. So for your sake, Brian, I hope we do get the sweep, but I think whatever the case is, like, we have to win at least one. Our expectations were pretty tempered going into it, Brian, as we talked about, that we'd take, a 2-2 record against the Dodgers in this one. But at this point, you gotta hope you win the series.
Yeah, your expectations change. Like, going in, I was like, if you told me you're guaranteed a sweep or guaranteed a split, I would have been like, oh yeah, I'll take the split all day. Now I'm getting greedy. I don't want the split. I want to win it all, baby.
Yeah, good stuff. Anything else on the radar for you guys, like NL West division wise? I mean, we were talking beforehand, Brian, about this Rockies team with their offense led by Charlie Blackmon. They got to be a team that we're pretty weary of this season.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Rockies weren't one of the teams that people talked about. Everyone was saying that the Diamondbacks were going to be our biggest threat to the second spot in the division. I still think the Diamondbacks could be good. That lineup, kind of like the Rockies, I think the two teams are built very similarly. Right now, the Rockies have had the better starting pitching, and the Diamondbacks pitching has been atrocious, and that's why they sit at 7-11 or 8-11 with the win over the Rockies today. But I still think it's going to be a dogfight. I don't think we can count Arizona out. Like, 3 games back in August with 40 to go, that's nothing. So I'm weary of both of those teams. I'm very surprised at how well the Rockies have started, and I mean, it's time to start scoreboard watching.
All right, guys, real quick timeout. Our mentor and our fearless leader of the BCSC podcast is in the building. Jeff Kurtz.
Oh, looking good.
That's right.
Angel's hat and a mask. I like it.
Well, you got to match up. If you're going to have to do this, you got to match up. So you might as well lean in there. I've got a Padres one too, but I didn't realize I was going to be on air today, so I didn't wear that for the Best Coast Sports Connection. But, you work with what you got.
That's right. Looking good, Hefe.
Well said. Thank you.
He's wearing his Nolan Ryan Angels hat.
I know. Taking it back.
All right, guys. Sorry about that.
No worries. Love it.
No.
The keys to the building. What about you, Thomas? Anything else NL West wise you're keeping your eye on?
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm indifferent with the Dodgers. I watch this team and I just don't see them. I just don't see how everybody at the start of the season thought they were the most dominant team in baseball. I still see a lot of holes in their lineup, and it just. The pitching, granted, is excellent, but their bullpen is shaky at best, and their starting lineup does not, scare me at all. I think, there are definitely key hitters at the top of the order, Betts and others, but it isn't a lineup, that I would be thoroughly afraid of, in a series. I think there are ways that you could pitch around them, and the Padres have shown it in these first 2 games. So to me, that I guess I read the previews and expected a super team, and I just don't see it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you to some degree there, Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not the dominant team, but I do think that speaks to a bit about the betterment of the Padres here in 2020, that our hitters aren't afraid of their pitching staff, and our pitchers aren't afraid to go at their hitters. I mean, I personally, every time I see Cody Bellinger at the plate, like, I get scared because of how hard that guy swings. And if you mistake over the middle, but I mean, that's the new Padres. We're going after them, and I like to see that.
But my point is, Betts and Bellinger are elite hitters. But I don't see another elite. I can name the Padres when they're healthy. They have more elite hitters than the Dodgers do. in their everyday lineup. And that's just my perspective. I think you can easily pitch. If they were so great, then how come they've never advanced and they looked horrible in their World Series appearances? I mean, they're the team that cries always about the Astros, but they lost 2 games in Dodger Stadium. So let's get real about it.
Thomas bringing the thunder against the Dodgers. I love it. Anytime we can trash the Dodgers, I'm down for that.
Who lit that spark?
Thomas is still upset about the play at the plate last night with Chris Taylor
exactly.
Austin Hedges, even though the lane was clearly being given. That's kind of something I want to talk about is what kind of retribution should we expect, or can we expect? Do we expect anything? It's really clear that Austin Hedges was giving Chris Taylor the lane, and if Taylor would have slid in the lane that was given to him, he's probably safe on the play. But he went out of his way, ran in, created contact with Hedges. Because he's a Dodger, they're never going to look into that for a suspension or anything. But and then Austin Barnes chirping back there as well. I don't know. He probably not going to be Zach Davies. He's probably the slowest thrower on the team, but maybe bring somebody in to give him a little music. I don't know. I even liked last night that there was a point in the game where Austin Barnes came up and the first pitch was about 95 miles an hour right over his head. And then the pitcher struck him out on the next 3 pitches. So that's the thing I kind of like. You don't want to put the guy on base, but give him a little attention and then strike him out. That's the best retaliation.
If I'm not mistaken, that was Pierce Johnson that did that, right, Brian?
Oh, it was. Yeah. Knew I liked that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely some intent to hit Hedges there last night. I mean, not totally malicious, but yeah, I mean, it was a dumb play. Like you said, Brian, he would have been safe. So that's why I thought it was such a stupid move. But not surprising from a Dodger.
I like that. Come on, Brian, bash him. Say something.
Well, Thomas, now that you've told everyone that they're just trash and no good, I mean, I don't know what more there is to say. All I know is, they haven't won anything for 30-something years. So why should we be afraid of those guys?
1988.
Yeah, jeez, I was barely alive. AB may not have been.
87.
Yeah, barely. Yeah. 1 year old. Get out, Dodgers. Come on now.
Well, it's good stuff. There's a good article on the Padres website or MLB.com saying the 9 best reasons to watch the Padres in 2020. And, from Tatis to, the surprise of Dinelson Lamet, not so much to us, but to the baseball world, that this guy and Paddock are just going to be dominant at the top of their rotation. Just a plethora of things that excite us. I mean, we've been talking about it every podcast. So it's nice to see it come to fruition and to see it come to fruition consistently.
Yeah, sorry, Andy. I agree with you. I think the national press is now kind of jumping on the Padres because I read a great article on ESPN's their main story on the website yesterday about Fernando Tatis Jr. And when you read about it and you kind of sit there, Tatis Jr. When I watch him, he reminds me of a almost like a baseball equivalent of an NBA player, where you have to see. He's become almost must watch. Like if you're out and about, you're either going to turn on the radio to listen to his at bat to see what he does, or if you're home and definitely you're doing a few chores around the house, you're definitely going to kind of make your way back towards the TV when it's coming up to his at bat. And it's kind of weird, but you're even hearing from these so-called sports experts that the Padres are going to have to, or probably going to sign to a big money contract just to avoid those arbitration years. And it's kind of good that you have confidence that can happen, where before it would have been, well, we'll probably see him in another uniform in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, the takeaway that I get from that is that I mean, I could have made an argument, and I have for the last 10 years on why the Padres are good, even though they're not, just because I'm a delusional fan, and every single time I think that they're good. So when I see all the national media attention that the Padres are getting right now, it just kind of solidifies that, hey, these guys actually are good, because unbiased observers are thinking that as well. Because I can explain why every team that I like is the best team that's ever happened, even if the results would show otherwise. So that's the exciting part for me. And the fact that it's happening with the new uniforms. I bring it up every single time. And, I'm probably beating a dead horse here, but I just love the brown and yellow and how good it looks in marketing materials. And just the fact that every single time the highlights are coming in and people are watching Padres, they're seeing these beautiful uniforms that just, they're just, that you're watching the Padres, and young fans around the country are going to want to be Padre fans and get shirts and get jerseys and all that because it looks cool, because we've got Fernando Tatis. It's a total home run. It's perfect timing for all this. And I just couldn't be more proud.
I'm absolutely in love with the road pinstripe jerseys. Those are easily my favorite. I went to the Padres team store a couple days ago. It's my cousin's birthday tomorrow, so I wanted to get him a gift. Sidebar, I know what it's like for women going into Nordstrom's now, where they want to buy everything. That's how I was at the Padres team store a few days ago.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they didn't have a Tatis road pinstripe jersey at the team store. I was a little ticked.
Yeah.
My cousin loves Fernando Tatis Jr., of course. So it was either a road pinstripe with no player number name, or the brown Tatis jersey. Didn't know what to go with, so I got him the road pinstripe without a name or number. So normally that's always a safe bet for the Padres team, because it could be gone in 2 or 3 years.
Yep,
but
totally.
I think Fernando, that's a guy we're going to see here for a long time. So
yeah.
Did you order the Tingler? The Tingler jersey?
That's a good point, though. Good point.
You are doing Tingler jersey, Andy.
I'm getting there. I had to start off going to the team store. I just got like a shirt and a cap for myself. I got my cousin a jersey, and then my uncle, it's his birthday as well, so I got him a nice Padres like hoodie. Ended up spending $300 at the team store. So my original limit was $100, but anyway, it's my spending
happens. That, like you said,
I am very close to getting a customized Tingler, likely shirt, maybe jersey at some point. When the funds are there, when I've got $75 to spend on nothing else, then that's going to be it.
I can't wait till those the Who the Fudge is Jace Tingler shirts, till we see them everywhere. Like, people across the country are going to be wearing those. And I want it to be in like 10 years when he's like, household name and just everybody loves the guy, and we've won a handful of World Series and people are still wearing the Who the Fudge is Jace Tingler shirts. I can't wait for those. That'll be great.
I think we definitely all deserve one of those, guys. I was actually, a few days ago, I went back and watched our episode where we first brought up Jace Tingler, and we were all like, what
was the context to it?
We were making jokes about him, like saying we need a Ron Washington or a Mark Loretta. This Tingler guy is too much of an unknown. And I wish one of us would have been like bold enough to say, like, we believe in this Tingler guy. He's the man. But
you did say, you were the one who went out and said, if we get this Tingler guy and he's awesome, I'm getting a Tingler jersey. So you've been there before everybody else. It's easy to be on board now because we've seen what he can do. But you did go out on a limb there for old number 32 Tingley, Andy.
Yeah. He's definitely my favorite Tingler.
It's a big list, huh, Thomas? The other thing, it's clear that in the clubhouse, do the starting pitchers still pick what uniform the team is going to wear? Because if that's the case, I think they'll be wearing the brown tonight probably, because Zach Davies in each of his starts on the road has worn the brown. And that's the only pitcher who's done it. Everyone else has gone with the pinstripe. I just love them all. Like, I want every single one of them. The pinstripes look so cool, but even the brown, like, they did that one really nicely as well. And man, and the home white pinstripe is my favorite, but there's 3 different jerseys that are all somebody's favorite, and you can't go wrong with any one.
I agree.
Who would you guys get? You said Fernando Tatis is the easy jersey to get. Who would you guys get right now if you couldn't get Tatis?
Jake Cronenworth.
Really? You do it after 15, 16 games? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I guess like Paddock or Lamet kind of seem like an easy choice now. I'm trying to think of if there's anybody else that's, a little bit more bold. That's, I don't know. I think when we talked about it months ago, I said Mackenzie Gore.
Yep.
So, one of these younger pitchers is definitely would be on my radar.
The Gore one would be tough because you wouldn't know what number to get right now because he's been wearing 89, but no player in Major League history going into this year had ever been 89. So you don't know, like, does he come up to the big team and switch numbers? But you got your Gore 89. And yeah, so I don't know either. I'm thinking about that because I got my Tatis in the white with pinstripes. If I'm going to get one of the other jerseys, I gotta spread the love a little bit.
You look like a Pierce Johnson guy.
I got to see a little bit more, Thomas. Just a little bit. I do like the
so.
Pomerantz one, though. That would be an interesting one, a little Drew Pomerantz, and he's here for 4 years, so I could think about that. 15 looks good.
Maybe I'll get my 2020 special Yonder Alonso.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, I think that's a pickup where you're looking at a guy who is going to come in and be in like a veteran presence. Right now he's over at USD with the young guys, and he just wants to be around this club. He loved his time in San Diego before. He and Manny are best friends, and his sister's married to him. And if you watch the Manny Machado piece over in the offseason, he and Yonder Alonso are incredibly close. So I think that's just having a veteran presence guy who could also play some first base and hit from the left side if you need him to. He's got experience, and he doesn't cost you anything. Like, I think that's the idea there. And I like it. Might as well. He's not going to complain about not playing if he doesn't play because he knows we're pretty set, and he's a backup plan and someone who's going to be a good clubhouse guy, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and he learned how to be a bench player when he went to Oakland and really played that. I thought that role really well for the A's that year when they went to the playoffs. And Brian, I was shocked how much of an influence he was on Manny Machado because you would think with a little bit of the age difference and him playing in the majors, he would have been like trying to working on his own career, but he took the time out because he saw what a talent Manny was at a young age and really did a heck of a job mentoring him to the player that he is today.
Yeah, that was a really cool piece. Did you see that one, Andy? Have you got a chance?
I haven't, no.
You got to see it. It's great. And you'll see the impact Alonso's had on Manny. It's pretty impactful.
Yeah, great to have a guy like that in the clubhouse who's been with the team before. All right, my friends, that just about does it. I'll give you guys one final word on the remainder of the Dodgers series here for the Padres and their outlook for the remainder of the week. I'll start with you, Thomas.
The fraud will be shown. I'm changing my vote. It's a 4-game sweep.
One word you said, sweep. That's. I was trying to do a broom. I don't really know. I ended up doing a baseball swing. All right. So yes, sweep. Yeah. I already after the first game, I sent a broom to Valentine, our Dodger friend buddy, and then I sent another broom GIF yesterday. So we'll see. That's my plan. What about you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm going again. Yeah, we'll take at least one of the next two and keep up. As I said before, after the first 10 games, keep up that 600 win percentage where you're winning 2 out of 3 series. And especially this one that I wasn't expecting going into, to win a series against the Dodgers would be huge and really show that we are a playoff team and a potential winner of this NL West, of course, as I predicted. So that does it for the BCSC podcast. Brian, Thomas, thanks again for the time. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks, fellas.